Hello guys, welcome to the channel, and today we're going to review The Arrival. It's between The Arrival and Whiplash, but I filmed the Whiplash review yesterday. It wasn't great, so I'm going to film that one tomorrow. Let's get started. What this movie's about. This movie's about the fact that aliens arrived on Earth, or some random ship, and then everyone wants to investigate, and then the army brings this language professor named Louise Banks, who seems to be kind of this normal professor who unfortunately had her daughter die at the beginning, which we're figuring out what that's all about. And then we see her go on this whole, and then we see all these aliens arrive, and then we sort of see what that's about. And then she's partnered with this, I guess, scientist. I'm not exactly sure what he does, but Ian something, played by Jeremy Renner, and they essentially have to figure out what the purpose of the aliens are on Earth, along with some other people around there. And then things all goes kind of south, and we're kind of figuring out. And then she really cracks the code on this whole language that these aliens speak in the end. And starting off the good, and I think the best thing about this movie is that it does not play off your usual alien invasion tropes. And overall, I love what they did here, where they have this whole thing where there's competing factions, sort of, with factions meaning, well, the countries around the world, who are figuring out sort of what's going on with these aliens. And then you see Amy Adams really taking up this, letting them learn the English language and trying to communicate with them rather than assuming what they could want or what they could do. And the way it all plays out is that, you see them, the aliens are learning the English language, and then the humans are learning the language of the aliens, or they're called the heptapods. So I think the way it all plays out, and then once you get further in the movie, you see how things are starting to go down a bit, and then you just sort of see that trickle down of everything, and then the way it all ends off with them cracking the code on time in general. So it's an interesting way to sort of deliberate on these things. And I just think the way it all plays out, it's just great. I think the characters are all great. They obviously you have Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner starring here, and they're both fantastic in the roles. You see this language professor who seems like she had a troubled life, and you see what's sort of going on with her, and she has this sort of passion to figure out what these aliens are doing here and not to sort of just go to war with them. Same with Jeremy Renner, who's on her side pretty much the entire time, but you see him as sort of this normal scientist kind of guy that's kind of brought along to do this mission or something. And then you see some of these sort of more bureaucratic characters who want to sort of take action, but at the same time they're not fully keen on what they're thinking, so then they kind of always keep deciding and stuff. And then I just see other countries who want to take war against the alien ships, and the way it all plays out, you're just no, wait, come on a second. And I think it keeps you on your seat the entire time. And I think the it's thrilling, it's interesting, and I think it complexes everything, it complicates everything. It's not just a simple thing. Oh, aliens arrive on Earth, we go to war. Aliens on Earth, we let them into society. Though it takes its time to sort of, or the movie, or time is taken months and stuff to figure out what's going on with these aliens and what exactly is going on. So, in the way it ends off with them cracking the code, with Amy Adams cracking the code on time, and then realizing that her life isn't linear, I think, which, spoiler alert, I think it all really works. And I think the way it's the end twist, I'm not the biggest fan of it. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the twist from Interstellar, but we'll talk about that later. But I guess it works here. So, and I like how it's not overly long. It's fairly quick, fast-paced movie. I wish it was maybe a little longer, so we could flesh out the middle, because it kind of goes from them sort of kind of learning a bit and then fully kind of learning important words of the language. So I think the way it all just sort of plays out, you're interesting, and you keep figuring out you want to get to the point of their purpose, and then you see and I think it's perfectly satisfying. It's not exactly what you'd expect, which I think kind of works in one way, but in the other way it's kind of maybe this is too far of what we're kind of going off of, but it's interesting, that's for sure. And I know this movie had a bunch of rave reviews about it back in 2016 whenever it came out. My family members were wanting to go see it. I still remember this for some reason. And finally saw it. I thought it was great overall. There's kind of one issue, and I sort of already alluded it to it. I think that the effects are all great with the aliens, and they look kind of interesting. And it kind of reminds me of some of like the stuff from like you'd see in like Harry Potter with like wand storms. I'm completely making that up, but you see stuff that like it just looks interesting. Like it looks like the little stuff they do to make the words looks like the Death Eaters, and I think that's it's kind of fun for me, I guess. The effects are great here. The alien ships look cool, and you're like, wow, this is huge. It's like the size of the Willis Tower, maybe even probably taller, but who knows? I don't know. It's all great. It's just cool to see all of this, and yeah, I think it's just a really interesting movie in general. I really enjoy it. It's the first Denis Villeneuve. This is the first Denis Villeneuve movie I've seen. I was gonna watch Prisoners a while ago, but then it got taken off of Netflix, so I never had the chance to watch it. It's now back on. I'm probably gonna watch it sometime soon, and I have plans to watch Blade Runner 2049 and Dune relatively soon, and we'll see about his other two movies or. Yeah, I don't know. I think based on this movie, I think he's a good director, and I'm going to check out some of his other stuff. But it's kind of one flaw of it. As I mentioned, I do like the length of it, but like actually, it's two things. But like they're kind of minor nitpicks both. But it does move a bit too fast through the middle, where like we're just shifting so much around, and then we're learning so much. I guess that's kind of the point of it. But like I wish that was like a little fleshed out a little bit more, and I wish the end was also a little fleshed out a little bit more, because we kind of go from okay potential invasion to time is being defined again, which okay, I see what you did there, but it didn't quite work for me, I guess. Maybe it's just because I wasn't expecting it. I think it took me by surprise maybe a bit too much, but it doesn't, it works, but not like to its full, I guess. I don't know, maybe on rewatches I'll like it more. And then second thing, as I mentioned, the whole little twist at the end, I like it, and I like that they didn't go the alien invasion route, and I like that it wasn't simple at all. I like that it was complicated, but it kind of makes you sort of rethink the movie into like, it kind of makes you rethink the Amy Adams character, Louis Banks, and maybe the wrong way, where like you realize, wait, her daughter died at the beginning, but wait, she never actually lived that, so like what is she vision? It just kind of makes you confused a bit, and like I would have just said something about what it's about like very differently if we didn't have that, I guess. Or I don't know. So that was a lot, but overall, I think it works. I think it's still a really good movie. For this movie's final score, I'm gonna give it a 9.4 out of 10, kind of on par with The Martian, I guess, which is another movie I saw about a year ago and really enjoyed it. I mean, they're very different, I guess, but you know what I mean. I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna check out some of Denis Villeneuve's other movies, in particular Prisoners and probably Blade Runner 2049. But for now, really enjoyed this one. If you haven't seen this one, you should go check it out. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment down below. And see you guys next time. Be on the lookout for a Whiplash review, and I'll see you guys next time. Adios.